Hello. Um, this is your friend Sophie. Sorry, the so dark in here, but I really can't do anything about that because I don't want to move. Um, so if you're watching this, you've probably already heard. Um, yeah, so sorry if this is the first you're seeing it, if you're waking up to this news. I'm sure it's not that great if you're somebody who voted for Kamala Harris and really was invested and interested in seeing democracy continue. So, yeah, this really sucks. Let me turn this off so you can hear me better. Um, so I don't know why the video looks so crappy. It's normally not that bad. It's just so dark in here, but it is what it is, I guess. Uh, so yeah, I'm sorry if I'm the first person to break it to you, or if you are anywhere that this is streaming and uh, this is how you receive the news. That's not very good. But I don't want to take today's LinkedIn until and sit here and gripe and cry and moan. I'm hoping that as we kind of find some normalcy and go through our daily puzzles like we always do, and chit chat about the topic like we always do, um, that we can hopefully walk away with feeling a little bit better, feeling a little bit more hopeful um, at the end of this thing. Because again, it's always been about connection, community, coming together. And so, even in the face of a very tragic outcome of the United States elections, um, I still want to maintain that as my focus. So if you're a Trump supporter, if you're a Kamala Harris supporter, if you're a third party supporter, if you're somebody who doesn't give a fuck about politics, didn't vote, don't care, um, but you have thoughts, feel free to call in and interrupt me anytime. If you haven't seen these before, then please know that uh, I'm using the, excuse me, we were up very late last night. I'm using the backdrop of my, daily LinkedIn logic puzzle games to offer a space for you to call in and chit chat with me about usually sex and sexuality, but today we'll keep the focus on how you're doing and how you're coping, if you're happy, if you're not happy, um, in light of the 2024 United States elections results, which by all targets, projections, indications, will go to Donald J. Trump again. So, um, yeah, before we jump in, I just want to say, like, I live in the future from you. If you're in America, I reside in the United Kingdom. Thank fucking God. Um, I'm an atheist, and thank God I don't live in America because cannot imagine. I cannot imagine how you're feeling if you actually have to consider how you're going to do IVF now. If you have to actually consider your daughter's reproductive health, if you have to consider how your um, marriage is going to be maintained if you're in a same sex relationship, I just cannot imagine. So, I'm in a place of shock and awe. I I I can't say that I'm surprised. I hate to say it. I can't say that I'm surprised, but I'm very, very disappointed. I'm still a bit shell shocked, but definitely not. It was always going to be tight. It was always going to be close, but the fact that it was a blowout, it really wasn't that close. that's what I think is kind of taking me aback. But I digress. Um, I want to again leave this space open if you have thoughts, if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you want to rant, vent, gloat, feel free to call in and let me know. Leave a comment and I'll read it out and chit chat with you about things. Um, yeah, so living in the United Kingdom, I know again I'm 4 hours, I'm 5 hours now ahead of you if you're on the East Coast. So if you're waking up and again, this is the first you're seeing of this news, I know that if you are somebody who is voting for Kamala Harris, that this could be a real shock to your system. Um, there's rightfully going to be a lot of anger. But what I want you to notice over the next few days, weeks, months is how nobody from the Democratic Party, which I'm not, I'm unaffiliated, but nobody from the Democratic Party, nobody who supported Kamala Harris is going to go down to the Capitol. Nobody's going to um, take to the streets. That's not how democracy works. And the fact that the person who didn't see it that way and incited a riot and incited an insurrection and fomented hate and anger and division is now going to be back in the White House is insane to me. But I hope it again offers a parallel and a corollary to just how you're supposed to behave when you're not a sore loser. Um, so we'll see. We'll see how things go. It's crazy too that that was the biggest fear of a Kamala Harris win. That was the biggest fear of a Kamala Harris win, is that the right were going to be the ones to try to foment a civil war, and at least that's maybe a positive or a benefit out of all this. We don't have to worry about that. Because again, that's not something that the left would ever do because they're not insane. So let's jump into our first puzzle um as we wait for some calls. Again, in America, it's like 5:45 in the morning, so I'm well aware that you're probably not going to want to sit there and chit chat about anything that early when you're maybe trying to get ready for work or start your day. So I will post these on YouTube again just to offer uh my commiserations, my empathy, my understanding, and also, my messages of hope as we, try to again find some normalcy in our daily LinkedIn puzzles that we do every day. So, or try to do every day. So let's jump into our first one and let me turn the thing on so you can see. And again, feel free to interrupt me at any time. Excuse me. I don't know how to delete these comments, so let's see if that's something I can do on Twitch. If you want to leave a comment, if you want to see it pop up like this, then you'll have to do it on Twitch. But otherwise, if you leave a comment anywhere else that this is streaming, I can still see it. So feel free to share your messages and your thoughts. Very, very happy to try to understand where you're coming from, especially if it's from the Donald Trump side. If you're very pleased with the outcome of this election, I'd love to know why and what your hope is for uh, a Donald Trump presidency. All right, but yeah, let's jump into our puzzles. Just try to, keep a straight face through through all this. Let's get back to normal. Um, yeah, so to be in charge of a team at work, say, uh, I don't know, boss, head, something. We'll figure it out. Mind, something, an alliterative term for a telepathic connection, like Spock, be a mind meld. To sculpt, as in clay, would be to mold. On the mend is getting better. Alone is a, oh, to lend. It is a verb, it wasn't a noun. So to be in charge of a team at work, say, would be to lead, I guess. Yeah, that was right. So now we have to put these in order. Sorry. And the top and bottom clues are it's a two-word term for a thin layer of metal that despite its name doesn't grow on a tree, grow on tree branches. A two-word term for a thin layer of metal. Oh, gold leaf, I guess. I actually was walking the other day. First of all, I love Lord of the Rings. Love Rings of Power. It was extraordinary. But the tree with the gold leaves that's in the elven cities and the one that's in the uh dwarf cave or whatever, they all have these really pretty golden leaves. And I saw a tree just like that on a walk the other day. So I'm trying to think of the pleasant moments in my life at these times. So that was great. Let's go ahead and set up pinpoint and chit chat about my next thoughts on the Donald Trump win. And again, please feel free to interrupt at any time if you want to chitty chat. Hi. Kamala, you're fired. Yogurt tummy. It sounds like you're very happy about the results. I'd love if you want to call in or if you want to leave a comment. Let me know what you're looking forward to with the Donald Trump presidency. One of the things that um, I can point to as to perhaps what happened if you are like me and you're disappointed with the outcome of the election. Um, Everybody I talk to who is very politically minded is like, you know what? It's a populist thing. It's economic populism. Kamala Harris didn't take the economic populism seriously and the immigration issue seriously. And she kind of did, like she did. I feel like when you look at providing child tax credits and wanting to help with small businesses and increase the housing supply, like how is that not economic populism? How is that not addressing, like, even the whole, oh, the cost of groceries, the fact that she's the only candidate that was talking about going after the corporations that were price gouging and not letting the current market reflect um, what they had to do with their COVID pricing because of stock shortages and things like that. And so she's the only one who's doing that. She's not talking about just unilateral tariffs. She is addressing economic populism. So I don't know if you've ever heard my other chats with people and whatnot, but I always try to say, okay, if the reality isn't meshing, then there's probably another story at play. And usually what that is, if you scratch it, is probably a fundamental belief. And so if we kind of scratch through economic populism, I think we can get down to the fact that there wasn't a belief that Kamala Harris in particular could help to lower prices that we see every day, despite the fact that inflation is at a low in this country, despite the fact that um, the economy is the envy of the world, despite the fact that um, the Inflation Reduction Act was passed on the Biden Harris watch. I just feel like there's a deeper, and I hate to say it, I hate to throw that card out there, but I think there's a deeper misogyny and perhaps even racism at play that has to explain some of this. I mean, tell me what you think. But I feel like when you get down to it, people just didn't believe and don't believe that a woman could effectively do the things that she was uh, wanting to do. So when it comes to, even foreign policy, like being tough on Israel or whatever, like I don't know, like I feel like there's just this belief that a man's always going to be the one to be able to be tough on people or be tough on things. You didn't vote? That's okay. But it sounds like, I mean, again, it sounds like you're very happy about the outcome. Was just a spectator this time. That's fine. Are you in America? If so, um, even as a spectator, do you feel like some of the, um, I can't even say policies because we don't really have policies from Trump, but do you feel like some of his actions are going to impact you at all? Um, or have they impacted you from his first term? I'd love to know. Let's see. Yeah, I also, I guess I want to say too, like, I think the disparity in their campaigns was extremely stark because because she's a black woman. I'm a black woman, so I know what it's like to have to achieve perfection where my competition can just kind of sail through. Why do I think that Joe Biden had more black votes than Kamala? Oh man, there's a lot to it. I mean, black people aren't a monolith for sure. I hate to say it because I have a white husband, but I think her having a white husband, um, and being light skinned, being mixed, having good hair, I think she, um, is perhaps, um, suffering from some colorism and racism within the black community, especially when it comes to black men. I think black men have a difficult time with their relationship with black women. Um, so I think Trump kind of peeled off a lot of that support. But black women came out in force, it looks like, for her. And so, when it comes to black people as a whole, I do think it's more of a gender divide than a racial divide. Perhaps there's again some colorism in there. But I don't know, it's a tough one. I feel like this is going to be an election result that's analyzed and, looked at so much in the next coming years and decades. She's like a quarter black that influenced the black vote. No, she's half black and half Indian. Um, and her mom is Indian. Her dad is Jamaican. So she's a black woman. Especially when it comes to America, because we have the one drop rule where you could be in Octoroon where you're only 1/8 black and you're black. That's just the way it works. Are you from America? So that's it's more of a common concept that even if you have a little bit of black ancestry, that if you're still black. So yeah, she's definitely a black woman, but I think when it comes to, again, her being half black, her being lighter skinned, um, and again her marrying a white man, I think that's what kind of did it. No, her dad's Jamaican, black, darker skin, even Jamaican. Um, Yogurt Tummy was saying that her dad's half black. Um, yeah, I mean, so I guess just the again, just to kind of sum it up as to what I think happened in regards to, again, some misogyny, racism, colorism kind of sneaking in. I definitely feel like when it comes to being a black woman, we have to fly. We have to fly where other people can crawl and get along just fine. I've seen that in my own career. Um, as a mom to two black girls, they're half black, half white, but they're black girls. I have a lot of thoughts and concerns for them and what, half the country kind of rooting for that misogyny and racism and colorism. I have thoughts on that. I'm very glad I got them out. I feel like we escaped just in time. Because we moved to the UK a few years ago. But yeah, a lot of interesting feelings. But yogurt, tell me what your thoughts are as far as why you feel Joe Biden did better than Kamala Harris with the black community. Especially if you're African American, I'm very curious to know what you think. And I don't know if I have any other comments coming in, but we're absolutely in a space where, if you're a black person, especially if you're a black person who voted for Kamala Harris, there can be a lot of feelings flying around at this point, I'm sure. But overall, I hope that, people remain calm, people breathe a little bit. The phrase touch grass, just go outside and relax. Again, if this, I'm 5 hours into the future from America because I live in the UK. So if you're waking up and this is the first you're kind of getting the news, if you were, again, rooting for Kamala Harris to win or voted for Kamala Harris to win, then I'm so sorry. I'm just so sorry because I'm right there with you. It hurts. It really hurts. Like I just had to hug my husband this morning because I'm just sad. I'm really just sad. But I tell you what, I'm not. I'm not gonna get a pitchfork and fly to DC and go to the Capitol and riot or anything. Like that's just not the level at which um I think any liberal uh that's not the place that our minds go to. But I digress. As I'm just kind of chitty chatting with you, I'll move on to the next LinkedIn daily puzzle. Again, if you're here with me every day as we do these, then welcome back. But if this is your first time here, I'm just creating a space for you to chat and share your thoughts. Usually we talk about sex and sexuality or topics on sex and sexuality, but today I wanted to just kind of dive into the whole Trump thing, especially because I felt very, very invested, even though I don't live in America full time anymore. Um, yeah, Yogurt Tummy says, "Oh, hello. Thank you. As a spectator, I think Trump going hard on illegal immigrants was a big boost for immigrants and voters." You know what is so wild is you're absolutely right. But even that, if you kind of dig into why the immigrant debate is even a debate, there's at its core a level of racism and a level of xenophobia there, which I think is just so deplorable and so sad. Is there usually more people on stream? Usually in other places, like you're talking to me on Twitch, but I'm on Discord, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Um, Also, I'm American, and my audience is typically American. But it's 11 a.m. where I am in the UK, so so usually my later, if I do stuff later in the evening, I get more engagements. But no, I really really appreciate you hanging out with me, and um, welcome to Sex with Sophie. I'm Sophie of sexwithsophie.com. It's a beautiful little community where, again, I specialize in teaching people how to talk to each other about sex and sexuality, whether you're trying to talk to your kids, talk to people who disagree with you, if you're trying to talk to your partner, if you want to have a better conversation with yourself, um, then yeah, I'd love it if you checked us out, sexwithsophie.com. Otherwise, let's jump into our pinpoint puzzle because these take like 30 seconds. And again, I'm just hopefully, if more people have thoughts they'd like to share, or if you want to call in, I'm very happy to chit chat about what's on your mind in regards to Donald Trump uh, heading back to the White House. So, with Pinpoint, we are looking to find a connection between these different clues. So, crane, maybe origami things you can make. I don't know. Loader, I'm gonna say like heavy. What would you say? Like heavy trucks, heavy equipment, crane loader. What's the word for that? Like working, like excavators and things. What's the category of those things? I do give sex tips, but I'm not. I'm actually approaching it more so that we're all on this journey to learn together. My background's actually more in like data science and analytics. I have a master's degree in informatics, and so um, I'm again trying to create a space to try to get a clearer picture of what really goes on in people's bedrooms. So I offer quizzes and focus groups and things like that to try to figure out, what's really going on outside of pornography, because that's kind of all we have, especially as adults, to get a picture of what people really like and how people really are and what people's needs really look like, you know. So that's what we do. Um, if you could think, what is the category of heavy equipment? Like working trucks, work trucks, pile driver. I know what it is. I can't think of what they're called. Like heavy equipment. I feel like a freaking idiot right now. I do not know what they're called. And I'm thinking like about Blippy and the excavator song and all that, but what is the classification of vehicles that are like work vehicles? Heavy vehicles? Construction vehicles? Is that what we're gonna say? Construction machines. Okay. Stupid pinpoint. This is why that's my third favorite game. I don't really usually it's not that challenging at all, but um yeah, today it kind of got me. So as we set up Tango, let's just keep chatting about your thoughts on the election. If anybody else has any um um frustrations that they like to share, if you want to vent, if you want to gloat, feel free. Yummy Tummy was very pleased with Kamala being, fired. So if you're in that camp, I'd love to hear from you and love to know why. Uh, Personally, again, I'm extremely disappointed in the outcome of the election. Again, as someone who does uh, teach people about sex and how to talk to each other about sex, the implications for women, for homosexual people, for trans people, like it's horrifying, like what's going to happen moving forward. For intersex people, um, yeah, I mean, I feel like the whole specter of Project 2025 was so scary. And now to think like, oh my gosh, it's actually going to be enacted. I don't know if you caught just either last night or the day before, we did our or I did my Ask Sophie response to a question I received about abortion. And so I did so much homework into why abortion was even a debate. And what happened was it's not even that old. Like people weren't even in arms about being pro-life or pro-choice or whatever until like the late 1970s. And a lot of the focus or refocusing of the evangelical Christian ire around abortion was stemmed, or it was basically brought into existence by this guy named Wyrick, Weyrich. I don't know how to pronounce it. Um, but he is a co-founder of the Heritage Foundation, and he got so upset that the government was trying to use their um, like religious freedoms to basically be racist against them. They didn't like that. So what happened was the government said, if you don't integrate your religious schools, if you don't integrate your churches, we're not going to keep allowing you to have tax exempt status. And that pissed them off so bad. So they're like, "Oh, what about our religious freedoms?" But religious freedoms to do what? To do what? To be racist. And so the Roe versus Wade was passed in 1973. In 1976, Bob Jones University was part of a lawsuit that said, hey, integrate or we're going to take away your tax exempt status. They didn't integrate. They got their tax exempt status removed. And so that's when Wayrish was like, oh, hell no. And so he tried to get everybody up in arms about the fact that, oh, they're attacking religious freedoms. And that didn't rile up the conservative Christians enough. And so that's when he said, oh, well, there's another issue at play. 1973, this was again like 3-4 years ago at this point. Oh, abortion was made uh, legal, or the right to abortion was codified, or not codified, but it was the Supreme Court decision made about that. So they turned their gaze to abortion only because they were, oh, this is something we can latch onto that lets us have the moral superiority. In fact, that's when the moral majority term was was created by the Wayrish guy. So, they said we want to basically have something we can be on our high horse about to allow us to have inroads to control the conservative political side of things in the Republican Party without having to risk our tax exemption statuses being revoked. So it's literally the only reason people are mad about abortion is because of Heritage Foundation, uh, evangelical Christians, things like that. So it's absolutely nuts to me that, again, as a sex educator who is now seeing Donald Trump come into office, we have so many implications from the Heritage Foundation that will potentially come to pass. Let's see. Having a look at the guided masturbations. Can I get a preview what's in there? No, I'm just making fun of that Trump meme where he says you're fired in Celebrity Apprentice. Yeah. Guided masturbations are a program that we have one release now. We're working on some more, but it's a way to help you it's like a guided meditation for your self-love sessions, basically. And my dear friend Mish is who voices those. And it's just meant to help you practice better self-talk um, as you love yourself. So yeah, sexwithsophie.com. We have some fun things over there. But yeah, the whole "you're fired" thing, I thought it was so hard hitting in the debate when Kamala Harris said, "Hey, America fired you in 2020," and yeah, I don't know, it's interesting. So I'm wondering if the fact that he was elected again in 2024 is going to calm him down about 2020, or if he's now going to say, see, you know, I could have been, or I would have been elected in 2020, if it's just going to add fuel to the fire. So, what do you think? I'm so interested to know how everybody else is feeling about just everything that's come to pass. Because I personally am very, again, I'm very disappointed, but again, I can't say I'm super duper surprised, sadly. Um, yeah. So again, as a person who teaches people how to talk to each other about sex and sexuality, I have a website, sexwithsophie.com, where um, we try to share what it's like to be in other people's shoes. Uh, Black lesbians, asexual people, seniors, all kind of things, trans people, of course. Um, this really saddens me. Primarily because when Donald Trump was in office the first time, he stacked the Supreme Court with conservative judges who overturned Roe versus Wade. And Clarence Thomas even said in his notes about it that now they want to try to turn their attentions to marriage equality and contraception. And so it's insane to me um, that, yeah, we might actually be going even further into removing people's rights in America. So, I fear for gay marriage. I fear for um, IVF and contraception. This one would not be here without IVF. Um, I'm already really, really shocked about how people are dying because of the abortion bans that have been passed. I do not believe Trump when he said he would not sign a federal abortion ban. That's coming. Even if he doesn't do it, he's 78 years old. He's got JD Vance biting at the bit to, I'm sure, take over um, with a broken hip if he gets COVID again. If anything happens to Trump, we are really fucked, y'all. Like, whoa. So, yeah, again, as a sex educator, like, god damn. Like, I'm really, really worried. I'm really scared. And even so, I don't want to be, you know, I don't know. I don't want to be all doom and gloom because, again, maybe because he won this time, all of the anger that I guess he felt about 2020 um, might diminish. And also, I hate to say it, but typically with authoritarian governments, whenever and I think Vosh talked about this just recently, whenever they actually get into office, a lot of the rhetoric that they spout about, being very divisive and some sort of the negative promises that they make, um, they tend to calm down on that because they did a lot of that just to get into office. And so, I don't want to be all doom and gloom because hopefully it's gonna be bad, y'all. It's gonna be bad, but hopefully it's not as bad as we all predicted. Because even though 2016 Donald Trump was bad, it wasn't as bad as we had projected it to be. It was bad, but I think we thought it would be a lot worse. I'm scared though because a lot of the guardrails and people in place who could temper him in 2016 aren't there anymore. Um, but we will see, guys. We will see. We shall see. Let's move on to our next puzzle, Tango. And again, feel free to interrupt me at any time if you want to call in, if you want to leave a comment anywhere. Let me know what your thoughts are, how you're feeling. Again, if you're just waking up and you're seeing the news about what's been going on, then just again, I'm so sorry. I know it's disappointing, especially if you were um, hoping that Vice President Harris would make it. Um, yeah, it's uh I don't want to anticipate that it's dark days ahead. It's going to be challenging, definitely, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So let's move into tango, and let me take this down a notch because goodness. All right, we're just going to take that off of the vertical. All right. So tango, and again, if you are just joining me, I just do my daily LinkedIn puzzles every day as we pick a topic to talk about. Usually we talk about sex and sexuality. Of course, with the weight of the election results coming in, I just wanted to instead open this space to you if you are reeling a little bit, if you're um, a little scared, if you're worried. Um, I just don't want you to feel hopeless. That's all. So if you want to share your concerns, or if you're on the other side of things and you're like, yes, this is great, and you want to gloat a little bit, you want to, I told you so's, I'm here to listen to all of that. So feel free to call in or leave a comment anywhere that you're seeing this, and I'll share your thoughts, and I'd love to understand why you voted for Trump if you did. Yeah. So the way this puzzle works is you have suns and moons, and you have to have an even amount for each row in each column. You can't have more than two in a row. And if you see the X, there's opposite symbols on either side. The equals, of course, means there's the same symbol on both sides. So right away, we can see that there's three suns in this row. So we need, excuse me, three moons. We have two moons in a row. You can't have more than two in a row. So that's got to be a sun. That's equal. So that's a sun. Can't have more than two in a row. So that's a moon. Same concept. So that's the sun. That's the sun. We need another moon to have even amounts in this row. Now we have two suns in a row here and here. So we have moons on either side of those. Two moons in a row. So that's the sun. And let's see what we can kind of easily do. This is the opposite symbol. So that's got to be a sun. We need a moon to finish this row. We need a sun to break that two set. The opposite is a moon. And let's see. We need another moon for this column. We need another sun for this column. This is the opposite symbol. Let's see. We can't have more than two in a row. That's a sun, so that's a sun. Can't have more than two in a row. That's a moon. That's a moon. That's a moon. That's no moon. We have three moons in this column, so now we need three suns. That's a moon because you can't have more than two in a row. And that's a sun for the same reason. And there we go. Well done, everybody. That one was really uh not very hard, but yeah, great. So we'll move on to Queens. We'll go and set that up. This is my all-time favorite puzzle ever, and it's got me really addicted to star battles, which is what these are. So we'll do our Queens puzzle in a little bit, but again, just want to open up the space if you have any thoughts or comments or questions about Donald Trump winning the White House again in 2024. Um, yeah, I'm not happy about it at all. but at the same time, I understand this is a democracy. This is what clearly the people wanted, and I feel like it's telling on a lot of levels because we always talk about, oh, the electoral college this and electoral college that. Um, but even when it comes to, I'd say just the millions of people, even if he doesn't win the popular vote, that still voted for not only this man, but the ideals and agendas that he supports and wants. Um, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to see a way toward hope in that, but I think we have to find it. And I think we have to really start relying on each other more and the things that we share. Even though Kamala Harris didn't win, I still abide by her maxim that we have a lot more that we have in common than what separates us. Um, so even when it comes to some of the things that Donald Trump is saying he wants to do, like with immigration, for instance, I can understand how the reason immigration is important to some people is because they have a real fear that their job might be under attack, or that um their safety might be in question if there are guns and gangs coming in, or that if fentanyl is an issue. I get that those are things that are concerning if you genuinely believe that we have this open border on the southern border of America. Even though the facts don't substantiate that, and even though any effort that was made to try to fix the immigration problems um, were shut down, if that's your concern as a Republican, as a Trump voter, I can understand that. I guess what happens in my mind, though, that makes me really saddened is when we look at the fear that was stoked about immigrants, about Haitian immigrants eating dogs and cats, about um, uh, Mexicans being, rapists and murderers coming over. I fear that that's just racism. I fear that that's just xenophobia. I fear that that's just um, the same things that happened when abolition and Reformation occurred in America, and the then Democratic Party sought to make black people the monsters and the thing that you were afraid of. And oh, they're gonna rape your women and kill you, and we were made out to be something we were not. And I fear that that's the same thing that's happening to the faceless, nameless immigrant that you're being kind of stoked into fearing. So again, we talked about earlier, like if you look at the heart of a lot of people's issues, a lot of them stem from beliefs that are founded in misogyny, racism, xenophobia, and hatred, and that's really sad to me. So if you're somebody who's like, no, 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 I voted for Trump because I genuinely feel, give me a call, leave a comment. I'd love to know what you're thinking and just why you feel the way that you do. Um, Ultimately, I definitely feel like we still are the United States of America. I think it's sad that it's been so us them. I don't think that's been the democratic or liberal side of things that's done that, but it doesn't mean that we suddenly can split half of our country off and go somewhere else. I think that's always been the problem. You look at other countries who suffered from, you know, the effects of having slavery as a thing that they did. Portugal, England, France, they once they, I guess, emancipated their slaves or stopped having uh, slavery as a practice in their countries, they tended to then still have a bit of a nationalist, um, like they were it was possible for them to be nationalists. Whereas in America, once we said, hey, slavery's ended, and they finally told the people on Juneteenth that, what, 2 years later, that slavery was ended. um Black people are still there. We're still living in America. We still have to live amongst the people who enslaved us, and you have to still live amongst the people you enslaved. So of course there's going to be this very difficult reckoning and reconciliation with how you intersperse these two groups that had such diametrically opposed relationships with one another. And so I think that's a really maybe drastic, but also apropos metaphor for where we are today. And that's with the fact that we have such diametrically opposed um, beliefs as a two-party system, where I think the more liberal side, or I say the more conservative side, is thinking this is about economy, this is about immigration, this is about foreign policy, whereas the more liberal thinking side is like, no, this is about you know being able to love who I want to love, and being able to not be lynched and be able to not be killed, and to be able to not have to bleed out in a parking lot, and to be able to have the family structure that I want. And so I feel like whenever you have such far apart wants and needs for the American people, no matter where they came from, it's really just sad. It's really sad to see how um we're right back in that situation where we now have to figure out how to live with each other, when one side doesn't seem to grasp the level of gravity that this all implies to the whole other half of the country. Yeah. And the African immigrants that are hating of African Americans were more pro Trump than African Americans. That's always been a thing though. Like African Africans. Oh, sorry, baby. Hi. But African Africans and African Americans have always had a really contentious relationship. Hi. You okay? Oh. Here, let's get you something to eat. But they've always had a contentious relationship. And what's crazy is the other side, or racist people, um they don't care. They just see black people as black people. You could be Latino and dark. You could be Indian and dark skin. You could be Asian and dark skin. Um, they just see you as black. And I saw a really good meme the other day, and it showed a liberal looking at all the classifications of, um, lesbian, gay, furry, poly, all the different things that you could be: intersex, asexual, non-binary, trans. You can be gender fluid, gender flux, all these things. And it showed the conservative looking at that entire diaspora as just the queers, you damn queers, or something like that. And I was like, damn, that's such a good damn that baby white. She's really not. It's just a bad camera angle. Um, like whose white baby is it? No, but yeah, when it comes to the way we divide ourselves amongst ourselves, the people who are, I'd say, oppositional to us, just lump you all together as the group that they hate. So whether it's the LGBTQ community, and you have all these different distinctions and classifications and nuances there, whereas people who have control over what you can do with your body, whether it's gender affirming care, or if you can get married, or if you can adopt, or whatever the case is, um, they don't see any of that nuance. They don't see any of those distinctions. You're all just heathens and and queers to them. It's the same with the black community. Like, you know, we'll be you're light skinned, you got good hair, you're mixed, you're African, you're, whatever the case is, people who don't like black people don't give a shit. You're just dark skinned to them, or you're black to them. Um, in a very negative or derogatory type way. Um, yeah, so that's a very good question, Yogurt Tummy. Is it Yogurt Yummy? I'm sorry, I'm calling you Tummy all day. But ultimately, yeah, it's just sad. It's just really sad. But I do feel like that's an indication though that we have to, within those groups, stop separating ourselves, because again the opposition doesn't do that. So maybe that's a call for more communication and unity within America as a whole, regardless of whether you're Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative. um I am I'm not a Democrat, I'm unaffiliated. um but my political philosophy is probably more along the lines of like anarchism. so so I can't say I'm very surprised by the results that we've received. I did vote for Kamala Harris. I'm sorry. There you go. Just trying to wipe her face. But yeah, I did vote for Kamala Harris, and I did impress upon the people in my sphere that I wanted them to vote for Kamala Harris. So I feel like I did a lot of legwork, as best I could in the United Kingdom. Um, yeah, so this is a disheartening result for sure. But again, I do feel like we still have to come together as a country. Um, I hate that the onus to do so is almost always on the Democrats or the liberal side of things. That kind of sucks. Yeah, the LGBTQ is confusing in the sense that they're a group of different type of people, so they have different views. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's a legitimate thing. I mean, yeah, if you're trans, you're gonna have a different set of needs and concerns and desires than somebody who's asexual. And not to say that you can't be ace and trans, but you get what I'm saying. Like the reasons there are separations between, you know, classifications of LGBTQIA plus people and the African diaspora as it pertains to Black people or even Latino people or any sort of um, group of people. Yeah, there are different considerations and needs and wants within those different communities. But again, I think when you have such an oppositional force that is, again, so diametrically opposed to your community, it's incumbent upon you to bring that community together, and especially to really try to fight the things that are like fight the things that are trying to fight you together, because the more you're fractured, the more difficult it is. And so that's why I really loved in 2016 when Donald Trump won the first time, the whole women's movement, that the women's march and the women's movement that came together. I feel like the whole world um really, so it didn't matter what your nationality was, what your sexual preference was, what your gender was. It didn't matter. Like there were so many people coming together to just make the statement that, again, there's so much more that brings us together than that separates us. And so I think I'm hoping maybe that's what happens this time around, that um even though it looks really like we're two different camps, we're really not. We at the heart of it, we all have the same desire to just, raise our kids and have family and go to work and, you know, eat good food. We all have the same base desires. So, yeah, with that being said, let's jump into our final puzzle. And if we have some time, if she goes back to sleep, we can do some star battles. And again, just leave this space open because, again, I'm 5 hours into the future from America. So as they're waking up and, seeing the news and feeling some sort of way, I've already had 5 hours ahead to process and think on this. And, um, so if again, I can offer a space for you to call in, leave a comment with what you're thinking and feeling. Um, that's what I'm hoping to do here. Again, every day normally we talk about, you know, sex and sexuality, but today's topic's going to be about yeah, thanks so much, Yogurt Yummy. Thanks for the interaction and for letting me know what your thinking is. And I hope to see you again soon, my friend. Have a good one. Um but yeah, let's move on to Queens, and again, we'll just stick around if you want to chit chat as you're coming online. So Queens is a puzzle where we have to find a crown in this case in each row, each column, and in each colored section. And again, I'm just doing my games because this is what we do every day, just to try to inject some normalcy in the events of the day. So, um, don't think I'm not affected. Okay, don't think I'm not right there with you, spinning out a little bit. But I just want to take us back down and again get into our daily routine, do what we always do, which isn't trying to take over the world, clearly, but just getting into our flow of our daily LinkedIn puzzles. And again, normally we talk about funner things, sex and sexuality and whatnot, but um, today I just want to leave the space open if you want to interrupt me at any time to call in or chit chat or comment about your thoughts on the election. And again, even if it's just to gloat, I'm here for it. I'll take it. So with this one, again, you can only have one crown per column. So we know there's only gray in this column. There can't be any here. There's only blue in this column. So we can't have any crowns in the blue that's outside of this column. This one only has the availability for this yellow to be a crown. So that's our first crown of the puzzle. We can take away everything in its column and in its row and in its shape, which is already taken care of here. With this orange, we only have orange here or here. So we can't have it anywhere else in that column, and we can't have any crowns here because that would eliminate the shape altogether. Um, Same here. So now with this row, it's only purple. So everything else in that row can go, and these two can go. Same with this brown. All of that can go, and everything beside it can go. That leaves our second crown, which is the green. So we can take away everything in its row, everything around it, and everything in its column. So that leaves our orange as our third star or crown. So take away everything in its row, its column is taken care of, and everything around it's gone. Let's see. So that would, let's see what we're missing. The blue, 4 stars, the blue. Take away everything around it, everything in its row, everything in its column. That leaves our gray. Take away everything around it, everything in its row. Oh, sorry. And everything in its column. That's good. That leaves our brown. That leaves our red. That leaves our pink. And that leaves our purple, which is our final crown. Good job, everybody. 3 minutes. It's pretty terrible. I definitely feel like we could have been a little faster, but I do like trying to talk it out so you can understand what I'm doing. So with that being said, I'll set up some star battles. We can do that. Just to, again, kill some time as we chit chat about the election, and uh, open the space if you'd like to call in or leave a comment with your thoughts on Donald Trump winning the 2024 uh, United States presidential election. I honestly haven't even looked to see like what else is going on. I just saw, and I don't even know if he's Let's like look and see what's happening because I don't know. Uh, I just saw he was at 267 last I looked. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so yeah, Donald Trump definitely wins it. 277 to 224. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. And he won the popular vote. This is insane. This is insane. Y'all. Oh, poor baby. Now, and again, a lot of people are saying it's because she didn't take the populist stance economically or with foreign policy. Again, I gotta call bullshit. I gotta call bullshit. I feel like I feel like when it comes to economic populism, how can you say that wanting to provide child care assistance, more housing, that you wanted to really go after the corporations who are price gouging at the grocery store and at stores, um how can you want to have a reduction in child poverty, which was proven um with the child credit. You know, poor Tim Walz, I would have loved to have seen him do free lunch and free school breakfast and lunch for all kids nationwide, not just in Minnesota. I just feel like the we had this in our grasp, and now and that's economic populism to me. I feel like the populist view that um most people in our country want abortion rights and reproductive freedom, that seemed to be the populist view. So I feel like this whole election is going to be studied for so many years, and I'm also so interested to know um the differences that people who are way smarter than me will see between this loss and Hillary Clinton's loss. That's going to be interesting. I'm also really sad because if you read Kamala Harris's book, um, oh, what's the name of it? I read it a while ago, and it's so good. Kamala, The Truths We Hold. I think, yeah, The Truths We Hold. It was such a good book, and you really get to know her better and see her story. And I feel like we're missing out on not only abortion rights being codified, but we're missing out on so much criminal justice reform that she almost certainly would have enacted. We're missing out on the federal legalization of weed, and I think even like a reclassification of or rescheduling of some of the different drugs that are been proven to help with like depression and anxiety, like psilocybin and ketamine and things like that. I feel like we're missing out on so much that she wasn't even able to share, because I think she just wanted to get in office before she uh you know could then say, okay, now we're going to work on um even harder on uh student loan debt and stuff like that. And so oh my God, I'm so sad. I'm so sad. There was so much that we could have had from this that's no longer a possibility. I'll put that somewhere. There we go. If you have a comment, it'll still show up. But yeah, guys. Wow, we're I also really fear, I really do fear for just the democratic experiment. Because for somebody to say, vote for me, get me in, you won't have to worry about it anymore. You won't ever have to vote again. You don't, we'll fix it all. Like that's horrifying to me. For somebody whose closest staff members, also fear him coming back in. They're scared of him coming back into office because of his fascistic ways. Like oh God, this is horrifying. This is horrifying. But at the same time, right? At the same time, I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard to keep in mind that this is this is a presidential election. Uh so few things, and historically so few things that a presidential election unfolds affect your day-to-day living, in the past anyway. Like if you're kind of in that, if you're not in the standard deviation, if you're within the bell curve of the any population, for the most part, you're kind of untouched by some of the decisions that are made at the highest offices and highest levels. Um, but no, I don't know. So that's where I'm so worried, I guess. I'm trying not to worry because again, hopefully a lot of the things that he does and will do don't impact the every average person directly. But god damn, that's what it's just sad though, because stacking the Supreme Court um like genuinely affected the lives and even took the lives of some people in the end of at the end of the day. um the cost of everyday items with tariffs is going to just go out of this world. Like, so I feel like the I'm worried about the real world daily impacts that that I'll have from, a Donald Trump second term. But oh my gosh, I just don't know. So yeah, I'm still reeling a bit, reeling a bit. Um, wow, 71 million, almost 71.1 million people so far. Man, is this deja vu? Or I'd love to know if you're feeling a deja vu from 2016, where it was like, oh, she's got this in the bag, you know? No, she doesn't. I wonder how you're feeling. So how are you doing? How are you? How are you? Are you okay? Because I know it's so hard right now to see what's going on and to still be a happy person and a hopeful person, but I do hope that you can be uh hopeful and try to go talk to a neighbor, go find somebody who voted for Trump or you suspect voted for Trump, and ask them why. Like, ask them what they hope for and what they, you know, really think will come from a Trump presidency. If there's ways that you can connect and have some understanding with people that you uh, feel might be on the other side of what your beliefs are, um, have a chat. Have a chat with them. Um, the pickle says, "Black and brown men let us down. Thanks." Oh, I mean, I think that, uh, like yogurt yummy was saying earlier, um, just the fact that so many more black people went towards Trump, or actually, or were more in Joe Biden's camp than they were Kamala Harris's camp. It's very telling. It's very telling. I was also saying earlier, I don't know if you guys have like I'm old, so I've lived through the time when Chris Rock was like the funniest comedian in the world. And he had a stand up where he said, um, I'm rich. I'm rich. I live in the fanciest house on my street in Hollywood. I don't know. I'm paraphrasing. Okay. And I my house costs millions of dollars. I make a lot of money. And you know who my neighbor is? A dentist. He's like, black people have to fly where white people can just run. And I think this election shows that so starkly, that for all intents and purposes, Kamala Harris ran a pretty fucking perfect. It was pretty fucking perfect. It was a pretty perfect campaign in the sense that her policies were on point. We were going to get really good things from this. She was bipartisan. She had the support of Republicans, of union workers, of automakers, of manufacturers, of white people, of, like of women, men. She, I don't know, I think she ran a very good campaign. I think she ran a very, very perfect campaign. And then you juxtapose that against whatever it is that Donald Trump just did, and he still fucking sailed by. Like, that is amazing to me. So, I mean, it's just such a reflection on that sentiment that black people have to, and women have to do so much more, be so much more, give so much more than a white man ever will even have to conceive of doing, you know? So but tell me your thoughts. Let me know what you think. I mean, that's definitely where I'm at with this. Because again, we talked about earlier, if you're just coming on, that um, it, any of the concerns that people have, I'm one who I love to Socratically try to delve into the why behind, you know, the real reasons, if you will, behind what people do and say they want. And so, for people to really harp on like any of the issues that have really come to the forefront with this election, like immigration, it's like, okay, as a black person, as a black woman, I see the parallels with how demonizing immigrants and demonizing the fact that America was initially built by immigrants. Um yeah, I see the corollary between how black people were demonized and how we were made to be the enemy, and we're going to be the rapists and the killers, and and we were the vermin. We were the subhuman, not even, worth given the time of day, we were that group for so long. So to see that same playbook reenacted toward the nameless, faceless foreign immigrant, the dangerous immigrant, it's it's just the same thing. And so that's what I see. So to say that your issue is with immigration, your issue is really with racism. Your issue is really with xenophobia. I hate to say it. And then to say, oh, she didn't want to do, she wasn't hard enough on Gaza, about Gaza and Israel. Donald Trump said Netanyahu can do whatever he wants. Netanyahu, he can do more, So you got somebody who is the vice president. She's not the president. She can't come out and just say, even though she has come out and said that, she would support the war ending. And I don't think she's used the exact word ceasefire, but she definitely seems to be of the mind that the war needs to end, humanitarian efforts need to be made. Um, the atrocities in Gaza are real, and they need to stop. And so I think then if you dig into that more, it's more so that she's a woman. I don't think that she's taken seriously that she could be the voice to actually uh, enact the changes that people so desperately want to see. So again, if you scratch the whole foreign policy concern, I think that really comes down to misogyny. It's not a matter of, will she, won't she? It's because she would, but they don't believe that she could. So that's kind of where, I'm sitting with it. Again, let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Uh, let's talk about it. Give me a call. I'm right here to chat if you want to, again, just open this space to share your thoughts, your feelings, cuz it's tough right now, man. I'm really sad. I'm really really sad. But I also want to um I want to understand, cuz if you're a person who voted for Trump, even though I feel like the reasonings behind it were based in a ism or based in a perhaps a, a erroneous belief, um, I'd like to investigate that with you. I really, really would. So if you're wanting to gloat, give me a call. Let's gloat. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think, and we'll go through it. But you know, in the meantime, we'll just kind of again try to have some normalcy with what we normally do every day. So we've done our daily LinkedIn puzzles, and so the baby's still asleep. So let's just set up some star battles and chit chat a bit. And again, I'm just wanting to leave this space open for you. If you want to share your thoughts and feelings at this point in time, at this wild, beautiful, crazy moment in time that we're living in. Yeah. And if you get back to our regularly scheduled program, maybe not tomorrow, maybe next week. I don't know when we'll be able to not be talking about these things. But yeah, follow me, subscribe, go to sexwithsophie.com, become a member for free. Uh we typically, again, our daily topic is around sex and sexuality. Um but I just want to again leave this space today especially open for the people who are just waking up in America at 7 o'clock in the morning. Poor things. If you had hope in your heart that we would elect our first Black Asian woman president, and those hopes were dashed for you, I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry. Um, yeah, it really sucks. It really sucks, and things are gonna be things are gonna be pretty bad. They're gonna be pretty bad, but we have to move forward in the way that we know is better than Donald Trump would have. I think we do. The whole they go low, we go high thing, that's out the window. But at the same time, we're still living in this country together. We're still, again, fundamentally at the heart of each of us wanting to feel that we're good people. We want to feel that we're doing the best for our family. We want to feel that, tomorrow is going to be a brighter day, that our kids are going to grow up in a world that we leave better for them. We all want that, no matter how we want to get to that. Um, no matter if we believe the people that we elect will genuinely do those things, I think that is ultimately each of our hopes. So let's try to find that common ground with each other, because it's non-existent right now. It's non-existent right now. Somebody likened it to um oh my gosh, let me find this quote that I think it's sadly apropos. It says, this election is like having friends over for dinner, and some of your friends vote for pizza, and some vote to kill, cook, and eat you. Even if the pizza wins, you still got a problem. Yeah, so that's kind of what it feels like. I hate to admit it, but that's kind of what it feels like. Is that yeah, the lesser of two evils um would have been nice, but now we've got the greater of the two evils, and it's so distantly worse than, you know, than ordering pizza. But I digress. Again, just leaving this space open. I'll stay on for a little bit longer. We'll do a couple of star battles. Again, if you want to call in, or if you want to just share your thoughts and thinking, um, that's what I'm here for. Just if you want to leave a comment, let me know how you're feeling. If you want to gloat a little bit, feel free. Um, that's what I'm here for. And then subscribe and come back tomorrow, and we'll talk about some sexy times, maybe, or maybe next week. We'll see. Either way, let's move on to some star battles. These are like our daily LinkedIn puzzle queens, and I really enjoy them just because they're super fun for me. I'm the nerdiest person you'll probably ever meet. But yeah, I love shit like this. So it helps me calm down. It helps me to feel a little bit more focused. Um so let's start with some 10 by 10 one-star puzzles. And the objective is to again find a star in each row, in each column, and in each colored shape, and as quickly as you can, and the stars cannot touch. Oh, excuse me. So you start to see certain rules that apply as you play these games. So if you have a set of shapes that are uh the same number shapes solidly within the same number rows or columns, for instance, you have three shapes, one, two, three, within these three columns, there can't be anything outside of those shapes in those three columns. Same here, you got two shapes within these two columns, so you can't have anything in those two columns outside of those two shapes. So now we know that the green star has to be here. So you can't have anything here because that would eliminate this whole shape. In this set of four columns, we have four colors. So this is another rule. It's kind of the opposite of the shape in the column or row rule. So one, two, three, four different colors in the first four columns. So everything outside of those columns that is those colors can go. So it's like the exact inverse of the other rule. And so that helped us to find our first star, which is the red one, which is here. So you can take away everything around it because they can't touch, and everything in its row and in its column. And so also, because we found the red star, we could take away everything that is red. And so now that leaves our purple star, which is here. Take away everything around it, everything in its row, everything in its column. That leaves our blue star. Take away everything around it in its row and its column. I say that a lot. Let's see what else we can do. The orange. Oh, I'm sorry. The brown is here. So we can take away everything in that column, and then that leaves our orange. Take away everything in those rows. That leaves our gray. Take away everything in that row, in that column. That leaves our yellow. Everything around it, everything in that row and column. That leaves our pink, our one pink. And that leaves our green and our dark blue. So well done, everybody. That was great. Yay. Um, yeah. Just leaving the space open, playing our daily games like we always do. If you again have any thoughts or feelings about the election, let me take a second and just kind of maybe offer some advice as best I can. I'm just a regular person, but I I I I don't have a lot of positive hope, I guess. I am hopeful. I'm hopeful that again we can come together with the understanding that even though we have opposing viewpoints, we all want the same things. We all want to feel safe. We all want to take care of our families and be able to have the means to do so. You know, I get that. I get that. But I do feel like things are gonna be kind of bad. I do feel like things are gonna be kind of bad. And so I listened to Vosh and his thoughts earlier, and one of the things he kept saying and harping on was save your money. Save your money. And I could not agree more. Save your money. He's like, if you drink, don't drink. If you do drugs, don't do drugs. Save that money. Save that money. And I could not agree more. Um I will say I feel like I escaped. Again, I live in the United Kingdom. We moved here about 2, 3 years ago, and thank goodness we did, because the NHS has been amazing. I've had a super preemie baby on the NHS and didn't have to pay a dime, or I paid into the system, so I don't have to pay for anything else. I broke my leg last year and was taken care of so well and didn't have to do it. So I'm so lucky to have moved to England, but I know that's not something everybody can do. So if you're genuinely concerned that some of the policies that have been enacted already or that potentially could be enacted will affect you, uh, make a plan. Make sure you have your passport. Make sure it's up to date for you and your family. Keep all your documents in one place. Save your money. Save your money. There's a really uh, just I feel like there's a really strong sense of foreboding. I hope that you will actually transition that to um, trying to dig deeper and have some curiosity about why people made the decisions they did. So I'd love for you to talk to your neighbor, talk to a friend, a coworker who maybe voted for Trump if you're of the Kamala Harris camp, or who voted for Kamala Harris if you're in the Donald Trump camp. And I hope that you'll ask them why they did what they did, what they expected from that, what they hoped from that. So that again, you can hopefully find that common ground like, oh, you really were really concerned about immigration. Oh, you're feeling unsafe. If you're in the same neighborhood, maybe you could establish a neighborhood watch or um do things to help alleviate the concerns that people were genuinely feeling that led them to vote the way that they did. If you're talking to somebody who was like just super concerned about the economy, um, let them know like, hey, if we want to talk about some fundraisers or uh, working at our local food bank or doing things to help people who might be suffering from the economy right now, again, find your own way. Because even if the person you wanted to win didn't win, and the fact that Donald Trump won and probably won't do much to help when it comes to your economic needs or any needs, um please know that you can still do things together. You can still make strides together. And so that, again, that's my hope, is that we can come together. So it's be prepared, save your money, stay healthy, uh, but at the same time, reach out. Don't be a silo. Don't stay with your current news source. Uh, look and digest independent media. I'm not a news person. I'm not Brian Taylor Cohen or Luke Beasley or Destiny or anybody like that. In fact, I offer a space for people to call in, not to debate. I am not a debater. I want you to talk to me about what you think and why you feel and think the way that you do. Normally, our topics are sex and sexuality based or focused. But even when it comes to the election and Donald Trump and Kamala Harris and things like that, um, I'm still of the mindset, even in this regard, that, you think the way you do because you're fundamentally a good person and you want what's best for, again, yourself, your family, the world, hopefully. And so, you know, I want to know why you feel this is the best means to do that. I want to talk about ways that we can do that in our own lives and with our own friends in our own homes. So ultimately, yeah. I think I'm gonna go ahead and start closing this down. Because I hope that that's the note we can end on. Like stay ready so you don't have to get ready, you know? Save your money, get your passport ready, you know, just be prepared, but at the same time, don't lose hope. Don't be so sad. Don't or be sad, because it is sad. I'm sad. Um but don't stay in your silos. Again, whether you got the result you wanted or not. Go out, find people who think differently than you and try to understand why they think differently from you, and if they really think differently from you, or if it's just that you have the same fears or same desires, but they're layered under immigration, they're layered under foreign policy, they're layered under economics. So that's my hope there. So let's call it a day. I'll maybe try to come on later just to, again, offer this space. But I wanted to, because I'm 5 hours ahead into the future, just to let you know, if you're waking up and you're seeing this news and it's not what you wanted, that I commiserate. I totally empathize. I understand. Um, and if this is the result that you wanted, then I just want you to know, congratulations, that's great, but don't take this as a moment to stop working and to stop trying to find connection and to stop and to solidify the walls that people have been trying to build between us, because we do have so much more in common than what separates us, which is something I will always hold to, with what Kamala Harris wanted to share. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out. But it was really, really lovely meeting and speaking with a lot of you. Even the ones of you who, again, did not think the way that I think. And so that's always going to be what we practice here. Again, our topics are usually more sex and sexuality based. So subscribe, follow, and come back tomorrow or later today, or whenever we can, maybe get our minds back into a place of not having to think about politics. Then I hope you stick with me, and yeah, just to have a positive source out here, if you want to, yeah, talk about that. Oh, and I see I just missed the comment. I'm so sorry. Trump winning is only because the Dems went too far with their politics, is all I have to say. Ha ha ha. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you want to expand on that, please feel free. I definitely feel like, yeah, I think Democrats were a lot more progressive in some of the more social um things they wanted to do. But even so, I think what's wild is that um and I have to plug this thing up. So yeah, we'll stick around for another second. Because I'd love to, I don't want to cut you off right as you were sharing your thoughts. Cthulhu. Sorry about that. But yeah, you tell me what you mean by that. Like, how do you feel Democrats went too far with their politics? Because I hear you and I agree. I think that we were very much, I don't know, maybe talking about politics and policy when clearly the thing that Donald Trump has is this aura of authoritarianism. Like I had to say it, but he does. So and perhaps that's what people wanted to see. And that was a stark difference. That as a man, as an authoritarian type man, he might be more believed when he says, you know, I'm going to do XYZ as it relates to foreign policy, or I'm going to do XYZ as it relates to, how we deal with our enemies, or whatever the case might be. So I think that, you're right, Cthulhu, if she could have had um, less political talk and more of a, I don't know, like strengthening of her presence, or like, I don't know. You tell me, like, expand on what you're saying a little bit more. I'd love to know. But I can agree with you, and I can kind of understand from what I believe you're trying to say. I can see how that could have helped her. Um, yeah. It's an interesting time right now. It really, really is. So if you want to expound on that, or if you want to call in, I'll stick around for another minute or two. Again, if you're just waking up and uh you're seeing the news, I'm so sorry if this is the place where you heard it first. That's not my intention. I just want to be, again, a safe space for you to call and gloat, to call and um rant, to call and share where you think things went right for you, or where things went wrong for you. Um, yeah, normally I'm Sophie of sexwithsophie.com. Normally we talk about sex and sexuality topics as we do our little daily logic puzzles and fun little things. But yeah, today I want to just, again, leave this space open for you to talk about your feelings on the election. I talked about earlier, as a person who teaches sex education and works in sex education, um, and is very much an ally to the 2S LGBTQIA plus community. Just how alarmed and frankly frightened I am in regards to um, some of the additional measures that, like, Clarence Thomas and some of the other Supreme Court justices have indicated that they want to enact. Oh, look at you. You have to excuse her. But like, Clarence Thomas said, uh, now we're gonna put our focus on contraception and marriage equality and same-sex marriage. And so, um, that's pretty horrifying. And it's a scary time. But hi. Again, I'm just hoping we can still find some common ground with each other, because we're all just human beings. We're all just people. And yeah, baby girl's waking up, so I think I might head out after all. But I'll try to come back a little later, just so, again, we can have a open space for dialogue and for venting. Because again, I'm also very disappointed, but I don't want to lose sight of the fact that the people who voted in a different way than I did are still people. Um, so if I can better understand why they did and chose the way they did, um, I'd love to share that with everybody as well. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and hang it up. I don't think Cthulhu has anything else to share with us other than uh, that comment. And the pickle, thanks for your comments. And yogurt yummy, thank you for your comments and for chiming in. For everybody who was watching, thank you for taking the time out of your morning or your evening if you're in Hong Kong, like some of our other friends, um, for chatting with us. And we'll see you a little later today, hopefully, or at worst tomorrow for our next set of daily LinkedIn puzzles and chit chatting. All right. Have a great, great day, everybody. Try to smile. Try to um, take a day off if you need to. If it's too much for you, take a mental health day. I know some people who already scheduled that shit, so good for them. That was smart. But yeah, take care of yourself. Save your money. Save your money. Get your passport. Make sure it's updated. Um, and above all, just take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Try to find somebody who you have a differing opinion from. Um, and talk to them. Watch it. Try a different news channel than you might have. Find a new independent media source than you might have. Yeah, you tell them. What's your advice? Yeah, listen today. All right. All right. I love you guys. I really do. Everything's going to be just fine. All right. Bye.